Hi everyone, Hirsch Sai here reporting from Auckland, and today is the 30th of April 2024. So just for this talk video, which I'm trying to make, a bit of a different one and, very much on the positive side and certainly very much on the practical side, something that we can all use in our lives. I've got some notes written that I've scribbled down here next to me, ways that you can give back. Do your part if you like, ways that you can give back without having to spend a single cent. Of course, if you're able to donate money or give to charities, that's awesome. And it's a bit like I said in the recent talk video, The Law of Space. That was part two of two. One of my recent talk videos, I was talking about how I think actually many people would like to give to charity, but many of them, are just a bit unsure because, when you give to a charity, you're not always completely sure where the money goes. And we've all heard about charities who spend more of their donations, more of the funds that they receive, that they raise, on their running costs, as opposed to the actual causes that they stand for. And of course, I understand they have those running costs, but still, you'll think that they'll do absolutely everything they can to minimize those costs. Probably not even having for example, probably not even having a proper office, having all their documentation, on soft copy, things like that. Just off the top of my head, they'll do just absolutely whatever they could to minimize it and make sure that the majority of what they fundraise goes towards the actual causes that they stand for. Again, not to say that all charities are like that. Of course, just like any type of firm, you've got those that are better than others, and of course, there are some charities that are, they do stand out amongst the others, and you can always do research into that and to see what charities do well or which have a very good reputation. And from the research I've done and from what I've heard on that note, I've heard that Oxfam is a very very good charity. One that you can rely on, and one that I think where a lot of the money that people donate goes towards the causes that it stands for. Um, I remember what I've done with charities that I give to. What I've done is I've looked at sort of, here in New Zealand, the country that I live in, and I sort of thought, what do I want to give towards? Obviously, it'd be great if I could help out with everything, but maybe I can't quite afford that, or maybe not yet. But I think, what could I really do I want the money that I donate to go as far as possible and as wide as possible, if you know what I mean. And I've sort of dumbed it down to three main areas in terms of what you can help with or what you can donate towards, and I think of them as people, animals, secondly, and thirdly, the environment. And that's what I've done. And from the research I've done and from what I've heard here in New Zealand, for example, I've heard that Kids Can is a very, very good charity. So I've given money to them because that helps people. And again, even with people, I regard children as being very, very important. Because they're so young and they've still got so much to live for, and they haven't reached adulthood yet. So I've given money to Kids Can for people, for children, and they really do a lot, to help with poverty in this country. And then in terms of animals, the second area I've given to WWF Worldwide Fund because again I've heard of them as being very good with animals, and I think one that I gave to before them was, if I remember correctly, WSPA. It's a while back, but if I remember correctly, that's what it was. And then the third one, giving towards the environment, one that I really liked was Trees That Count. For just $10, you can have a tree planted somewhere in the country, and it shows you who the money has gone towards or what project the money has gone towards to actually plant those trees, and you've got a record of all the trees that you have donated. Towards planting or towards being planted. So it's really good in that way, and it makes you feel good. And donating towards a charity like Trees That Count, it's not just donating, you're actually helping to offset your carbon emissions because obviously the more trees you plant, the more of your own carbon emissions you offset, which is, really good. And of course, climate change is one of the single biggest problems facing, everyone, the entire planet today. So definitely one that we should all try to do as much as we can for. So those are charities, for example, and that's sort of how I did it. How you do it is completely up to you. And what I want to the message that I want to bring across in this talk video is that there are so many ways that you can give back, that you can do for others, that you can contribute without having to spend a single cent, And of course, I'm sure that would be very appealing, especially in this day and age, or today, where we have, a cost of living crisis, and where, it's a post GFC, post global financial crisis world. Of course, the global financial crisis, or the credit crunch, the Great Recession of 2008, might seem a very long, long time ago, but I still think that some things have just, changed forever after that. Just, people have become to realize that um, things won't always keep increasing or growing. You can't just keep counting on money continually pouring in. Even, banks, when it comes to, say, buying property or investment property, getting loans for those properties, banks are so much more stringent today than they were back in those days before the global financial crisis. Even if interest rates, are sometimes less than they were in those days, depending on what individual periods you look at and compare. But okay, coming back to the real topic of this talk video is, yeah, like I said, I think there are so many ways you can give back without having to spend a single cent. And looking at the list I've made here on my phone, so many ways. So just simply just coming from the top, I made a bit of a list, but there's not littering, and remember, no matter what you do, no matter how small it is, it still counts. It really does. It still counts, because at the end of the day, it just all adds up. It really does. And we can apply that to many aspects of life, whether it's, your health, your weight, or the money you spend, just every little change matters, and it does count. And so if you make so many little changes, it'll all add up. It really does. So yeah, so coming back to this list, many ways that you can give back to society without having to spend a single cent. Not littering, being polite is certainly a good one, and things like opening doors for others, even for strangers, greeting people and being nice, again, for those especially people at work, and even for strangers as well, talking to strangers at times. Another one is picking up a piece of litter whenever you go out and throwing it in the bin. And I've heard that's been a bit of a sort of like a there's been a bit of a movement for that. That's become a thing, hasn't it? People do that. They say whenever you go out and you see a piece of rubbish, discard it, just pick it up, put it in the bin. Again, it helps, even if it's not your piece of rubbish. Um, Another way, just fully cleaning up after yourself whenever using a public utility or facility, or even just at home when using the bathroom, the kitchen, what have you. Fully cleaning up after yourself. Letting This is a good one. Letting others talk and tell their story. Certainly something I need to work on, but sometimes it pays to just to be able to shut up and and just let the other person talk and tell their story, and you'll be amazed at how many people just love that, even if you don't do anything, even if you're not really even listening. Just if you just be quiet and let them tell their story, they will really, really love you for it. So letting others talk, tell their story, giving other people, especially those who are younger than you, golden advice that you wished someone told you when you were younger, or that you learned by making a very big mistake. And that's one that I've always remembered, because I just think of how many things I learned the hard way, how many mistakes I made growing up, and just still in life, and middle, um, in the middle life, in the middle of life, or in middle age, just things that happen, and you think to yourself, oh, I just wish someone told me that, what I had to go through to learn it the hard way. It's being humble, paying people plenty of compliments. People always love that, paying them compliments, being considerate when driving and traveling. Definitely being considerate when driving and traveling. Always being very thankful for things, just thanking people, who deserve it every day for what they do for you, or for what they've done for you. Um, this is a good one, reminding those close to you, just how much they mean to you, how much you love them. Maybe not exactly every single day. They might start to become a bit old after some time. But from time to time, it's good to just remind those close to you how much you love them, how much they mean to you. It could just be a quick text message, or a quick phone call. Even just that can go a long, long way, and can sometimes even make someone's day. Certainly can help when they're feeling down or having a horrible day. Another one is fully respecting others' opinions and beliefs, even if you hugely disagree with them. Sometimes it's good, or it's best just to agree to disagree, and I think that's a good one because what makes us all so interesting to each other is the fact that we're all different and we all have different opinions on the same topics, no matter what those opinions are. And yeah, just to be able to respect other people's opinions and beliefs, even if you hugely disagree with them, I think that just alone makes you a very good person, makes you very strong, makes you much better socially. So that's a good one. Fully respecting other people's opinions, even if you hugely disagree with them, and yes, doing your part, or at least some of it, to be carbon neutral. And there's so many ways you can do that. Driving a smaller car, driving less, driving more fuel efficiently, taking better care of your car, like that other talk video I did about how to drive more fuel efficiently. And then there's things like recycling, throwing things in the rubbish, eating less meat, being very saving in the power you use, using public transport as much as you can. Even in terms of traveling, it doesn't mean you don't travel, but you travel less or you avoid any sort of unnecessary traveling. Sometimes working from home or doing meetings through online or through Zoom rather than having to go somewhere for the meeting, things like that. Um, and as I said before, donating to a charity like, for example, Trees That Count, or planting trees yourself, or yeah, contributing to that effort of planting more trees. Just simply planting more trees is probably one of the single, biggest things or best things that we can do for the environment. It's not just about absorbing carbon. Planting trees helps in so many ways. It improves the land. It provides habitats for many animals, such as birds and insects and all that. They look beautiful. They increase the amount of oxygen in their area. Just planting trees have so many benefits. Um, Another one is even considering not having children and instead helping out with others. And again, that goes back to that other talk video I did previously, not too long ago, about the one called that "Is this the easy way to have children?" Because believe it or not, one of the best things you can do for the environment is just to simply not have children. With the carbon emissions that's involved when there are more people there. And also considering, the world population and what's happening to it, and of course, more people doesn't necessarily mean more and more consumption and pollution equally between the people, because different people consume very different amounts and pollute very different amounts, especially when you compare, say, the east to the west. But all other factors remaining constant, basically, the more people there are in the world, the worse it is really for the environment, even for the people themselves, and for all the other species of plant and animal on the planet. So just not having children can actually be a big contribution in many ways, and of course help out with the environment. And then there's even helping out other people with their children as well. And I mentioned that too in that talk video. Is this the easy way to have children? And of course, doing voluntary or community work, helping people out, no matter what it is, even if it's at home. As they say, charity begins at home. So yeah, hopefully you got at least some of that. But there's absolutely so many ways you can give back, you can contribute, you can help out in society without having to spend a single cent. Just being a good person, a considerate person, someone who does what they should do, and who contributes just in so many ways rather than taking away. Just that as well is also a very good thing. So hopefully I've given you, some ideas to at least think about, or, to perhaps take on board, to perhaps hopefully even implement. But yeah, and that's obviously not everything. There's so many more things you can do, but it makes you think, if you're not sure about donating to a charity, or if you can't really afford to donate to a charity, remember, there are so many different ways that you can give back, so many ways that you can contribute without spending a single cent, and those are some of them. Thank you.